A specific moment in Young Sheldon Season 6 secretly reveals why it has so many The Big Bang Theory plot holes. CBS maintains that the shows are still part of the same existence despite the many narrative inconsistencies between them. The initial idea for Young Sheldon was to be an origin story for Jim Parsons' fan-favorite character, Sheldon Cooper. However, as the prequel evolved, it became clear that each member of the Cooper family are interesting enough to have their respective arc. Diversifying Young Sheldon's storytelling is great in terms of making it more palatable for a broader audience, but it makes it more difficult to maintain established continuity. Young Sheldon's diversified storytelling is fully on display in Season 6. Sheldon is no longer at the center of its narratives, with the focus primarily on Georgie and Mandy's pregnancy arc and everything else tied to it. Mary and George's marriage is also scrutinized as they deal with their own cheating tendencies. Sheldon did get his own mini-arcs, but since he spends much of his time at East Texas Tech, many of his college adventures are fully separated from everything else happening back home. This way, Sheldon's genius is on full display as he focuses on his academic endeavors. Even as Young Sheldon shifts its storytelling away from its titular character, Sheldon's genius continues to be on full display. As he continues college at East Texas Tech, he's had a couple of projects, including the Grant database. Although it ultimately failed, the idea for it remains impressive. In Young Sheldon Season 6, the boy genius also reminds everyone of his eidetic memory, something that he harped on a lot in The Big Bang Theory. Realistically, it's also possibly the primary reason why he was able to excel both in school and work in the nerd-centric sitcom. Since he remembers everything, it's easy for him to absorb and subsequently process data. He has demonstrated some nifty tricks in Young Sheldon thanks to his eidetic memory. Back in Season 1, he recited Mima's secret brisket recipe despite only hearing it once when he was an infant. In Season 6, he claimed to Mary that he remembers everything, including back when he was still in her womb. If he's able to remember all these details, there's no reason for him to get details about his childhood wrong in The Big Bang Theory. Since he is the narrator in Young Sheldon, everything that is happening in the prequel should line up with all the stories he told the Pasadena gang in the nerd-centric sitcom. As the separation between Sheldon and his family widens in Young Sheldon Season 6, CBS occasionally bridges the gap in the most subtle way. This is to make sure that the socially inept genius remains relevant to his family. This becomes more prevalent towards the end of the year after George and Mary settle their respective job situations, and Mandy finally gives birth to baby Cece. For Sheldon's last Young Sheldon Season 6 arc, he realizes that despite his intellect, he has been slacking in terms of working on his post-graduation portfolio. This results in him panicking about not being able to get into Caltech for his master's. Sheldon's woes at school tend to get resolved on their own, with his mentors primarily helping him. That doesn't hinder him from sharing his concerns with his family, particularly Mary. When he realizes the error of his ways with regard to proofing his future, he rants about it to his mom. When asked if neither Dr. Linkletter nor Dr. Sturgis reminded him about signing up for an early summer program, Sheldon blatantly admits that he omitted that part because it would make him look bad. This establishes his tendency to twist his stories in order to preserve his good image. Because of Sheldon's eidetic memory, it's highly unlikely that he got details about his childhood in The Big Bang Theory wrong. That being said, his habit of twisting stories to make himself look good effectively explains all the inconsistencies in his stories in Young Sheldon and its parent series. Since Parsons' adult Sheldon is providing the information in the prequel via his voiceovers, it means that its events are still based on his recollection. So while Young Sheldon is always criticized for its lax approach to preserving continuity by consistently contradicting The Big Bang Theory, this gives CBS the excuse for some of its most ludicrous plot holes. For what it's worth, this fits in with Sheldon's narcissistic tendencies, something that he may have gotten from Mary, who exhibits similar characteristics. Despite his intellectual prowess and nonchalant demeanor, Sheldon can be very insecure in The Big Bang Theory. Had it not been for his friends, he wouldn't have gotten the support he needed to achieve his goals. Lying to elevate himself is a trait that he may have developed during childhood to cope with because of the immense pressure that comes with being known as a boy genius. He may have carried it out into his adulthood, hence his lies in The Big Bang Theory. Since Parsons' adult Sheldon is the narrator in Young Sheldon, he is essentially the source of information in the show. This means that everything that is happening in the prequel is from his point of view. His eidetic memory allows him to remember even the finer details of his childhood. CBS has yet to provide a canon explanation why Sheldon is even revisiting his time in Texas with his family, but there are theories that he may be working on his autobiography after winning the Nobel Prize in Physics. There are some risks to this because Sheldon's penchant for twisting the truth to benefit himself makes him an unreliable narrator. Because of this, it's difficult to be sure if Sheldon's recollection of young Sheldon's events is actually accurate. Perhaps he's also embellishing it to make himself look good in his own autobiography. That being said, CBS cannot simply rely on this explanation to skip some of the bigger events from Sheldon's childhood, which includes George's cheating storyline. Despite years of setting it up, young Sheldon continues to ignore the narrative, even fully skipping it in season 6. With possibly 1 year left before The Big Bang Theory fully wraps up, it's imperative that the spin-off finally tackles it.